Hi, I'm Joe Lascota, Director of Dealer Development for the National Independent Auto Dealers Association. The purpose of this video is to take you through a step-by-step process of purchasing a used vehicle. I'm frequently asked, is buying a used car really smarter than buying a new car? Well, yes and no. It depends. It depends on you. For close to 15 million individuals a year, having that new car smell and the assurance of a new car warranty is the only way to go. And at the same time, over 39 million individuals a year prefer to take advantage of the fact that, on average, a typical new vehicle loses 15 to 30% of its value the moment it's driven off the new car lot, and yet still manages to run extremely well, way beyond the 100,000 miles on the odometer. With over 500 different models of vehicles to choose from, where do you begin your search for a used vehicle that's right just for you? Well, of course, there are several considerations, such as price. What can you afford to pay? What type of vehicle are you interested in? For example, 2 doors or 4 doors, car, truck, hybrid model, EV, and so on. Don't forget, you also have to consider something I'd like to call cost. There's price, that's what you pay for the vehicle. Then there's cost. That's what you'll pay to drive it every day, every month, and every year. Remember, it's no fun having an awesome looking vehicle only to have it sit in front of the house because you can't afford the insurance on it or the gasoline to operate it. Like most consumers, you're probably going to begin your search on the internet, on sites such as autotrader.com, eBay, cars.com, as well as many others. Or you can begin your search easily enough online by simply Googling used cars and let the search begin. Going to a third-party website such as autotrader.com might be a little user-friendly, as third-party websites take you directly to specific used vehicles with lots of photos. Your journey on the internet will take you to the front door of private owners, franchise dealers like Ford, Toyota, Chevy, Chrysler, and many other manufacturers, as well as independent used vehicle dealers who specialize only in the sale of used vehicles. Now, we'll look at each of these in a little more detail later on. It's really important to understand the importance of selecting the right place, person, or resource you are going to make a final purchase from. Now, there's over 17,000 franchise dealers and over 35,000 independent used car dealers throughout the U.S. In fact, there are many independent used car dealers located very close to military bases. While most independent dealers are very reputable and have reputations for being fair and honest, unfortunately there are some that are less than reputable. So how do you protect yourself? There are a few ways to recognize a reputable used car dealer. Here are a few. Look for a dealer that has a reputable used car certified program. Ask to see documentation on what their certified program covers, how they recondition their vehicles, and their warranty coverage. Next, take a few moments to review the dealer's reputation by going online in search of the Better Business Bureau history. Look for unresolved customer complaints. Next, go to your base legal assistance or JAG office to see if there are dealers in your area that have a history of customer satisfaction problems. Does the dealership have an ASC certified mechanical technician? You see, the quality of service you receive after your purchase can certainly be impacted by the level of skill and knowledge of the mechanics or technicians available at the dealership. So look for that very important ASC certification symbol or logo indicating the dealership's technicians are fully skilled and trained. But also keep in mind, not all dealerships have their own service facilities on site. Now, before you go shopping for that special used vehicle, stop. Get a cup of coffee, grab a Coke, and familiarize yourself with your rights under the Servicemembers Civil Relief Act. In other words, understand your legal rights as a member of the United States Armed Forces. Used car shopping should be a fun experience, but you must also remember, when you make a used car purchase, you're going to enter into a long-term, legally binding financial commitment. So take this mission very seriously. As a matter of fact, you must remember there may be many more pitfalls when considering making a used car purchase from a private seller. Used car dealers are under a great deal of legal scrutiny under the FTC used car guidelines. These guidelines require dealers to spell out what warranties come with the used car you're buying and what items are specifically warranted. There are severe penalties to any dealer failing to comply with these FTC rules. On the other hand, private sellers do not have to comply with the FTC used car guidelines, frequently leading to unscrupulous private selling practices. And although it may cost you a bit more to buy a used vehicle from a reputable dealership compared, let's say, to a private seller, Dealerships customarily will offer you a warranty and other options to protect your financial investment. Well, you've done some recon work, and now it's time to make a selection. It's hardly unlikely that a vehicle will be built that is truly perfect in every way, but unfortunately there are some models that have had more than their share of recalls by a particular manufacturer. A recall is when a manufacturer recognizes that one of their model cars has a serious or minor flaw and they're recalling it back to correct the problem. Now, usually the recall adjustment is made at a franchise dealership, and while some recalls can be as minor as replacing a screw in a dashboard, others can be much more serious, such as a brake issue. You'll want to know about those before you say, "I'll take it." Now, by the way, you may want to check out fueleconomy.gov to check fuel ratings on the vehicle you're considering purchasing. And don't forget about insurance. Insurance requirements will vary from state to state, so you'll have to check with your state to see exactly what's required. But this is one item you won't want to cut corners on. In all cases, you'll be required to carry liability insurance, which will protect you when an accident is your fault and have to pay for damages to someone else's property. Many young people make the mistake of only carrying their state's minimum required amount of liability insurance, when in fact, their liability could end up costing far more after a serious accident. Some states may also require you to carry medical coverage, just in case you or any of your passengers need medical assistance in an accident. Be sure to check with your insurance agent. And finally, there's collision and comprehensive coverage, which covers damage done to your vehicle from an accident or other cause. Now, depending on the total value of the used car you choose, this may or may not be a very cost-effective coverage, so be sure to discuss this thoroughly with your insurance agent. Now, you have to keep in mind, in many cases, the amount of insurance you end up paying each month will depend on the type of vehicle you end up purchasing. For example, the insurance premium on a four-wheel drive truck can be much higher than that of a two-wheel drive truck. You might want to call your family's insurance agent and discuss your vehicle choices with them well before making your final purchase decision. Now, I don't want to leave out the issue of mechanicability. Unless you're going to be doing your own service work on your newly purchased used car, and by the way, it's not so simple of a task to do your own repairs these days when you consider there are over 13 different onboard computer systems on today's model cars. You'll want to select a vehicle you can afford to maintain. Now, for example, a BMW might cost you quite a bit more to maintain than a standard GM model car or truck. So check websites like consumerreports.org and edmunds.com. And finally, there's the topic of resale value. This may or may not be an issue for many used car buyers, but it's important to others. Some vehicles hold their value better or longer than others. Now, this will have an impact on you and your wallet should you decide to trade your used car purchase in at a later date for a newer used car 3 or 4 years down the road. The higher the resale value, the less you'll pay in monthly payments on your next vehicle if you use your vehicle for a trade-in down the road. For example, luxury car brands might have higher maintenance costs than standard models, but it could have a higher resale value than a standard vehicle. So by now I'm hopeful I've convinced you that you really must do your homework before heading out the door with your hard-earned money in hand to buy that used car you've always dreamed about.